Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
How would you like to achieve your first million in sales? And today we're connecting from London to Florida, United States, and we have Tony with us. Tony, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Tony Morgan. I'm living in Tampa, Florida right now, originally from New York.
So what's the name of your company, Tony?
My company's name is Nuke Force Solutions. We offer a fast-track path to a lucrative career in nuclear power, where one can spend 5 weeks in a class and make up to $200,000 a year with no prerequisites.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. So how you start this business? What happened?
So I was working in nuclear power, and there's a growing staffing crisis across the nuclear industry right now. And I understand that I had no college. In fact, I dropped out of high school. So
Why?
with a GED, I was able to obtain these qualifications using family connections.
Wow.
And start working in nuclear power. My second year in a full-time position, I was making $160,000 a year.
Wow,
So
so it's really skilled work, very, very comfortable life. Yeah, how old were you?
At this time, I was 25.
Oh my God, so you were making 160,000 a year, 25 years, only with 25 years old, right? So
Yeah.
what happened? Why, if you had this comfortable life making so much money so young, then you decide after to start a business, which is a very risky thing. Why did you leave your well-paid job and start to do your own thing? You crazy? People told you that you were crazy?
I think you got to be a little crazy to be successful in business. That's for sure.
Yeah. So you somehow you felt that if you can serve the market, you actually can prepare the training for these people and start the training company. You can do well on your own, right? And you can take your own decisions, right?
Yeah. There was no company that was specifically just training, and as I said before, there was just a growing demand for technicians. We weren't fully staffing for our outages, and it just didn't make sense to me why that would be the case. And anybody who was training and administering these qualifications were workforce providers, meaning that's where their main focus was staffing. So there wasn't really a direct focus on training specifically. So I've kind of made that my niche.
But then this is the thing, right? Because you drop out of college, so maybe the people around you, your friends, maybe your family, they already made their own mind. Oh, he's not smart enough. He's just dropped out of college. He's a bad student. So how in this environment, people thinking this about you? Yeah, when you tell them, listen, I'm gonna do my own training company. What happened? What say the people around you? They told you crazy. You just forgot that you drop out of school and that you're not good student. So what happened? Or was the other side? You actually find support with the people around you, your friends, and they say, okay, go for this business. We're gonna help you, whatever. Or all your circle of friends and your family, they say, oh, go, you crazy. You're ready now. You're gonna make us. You quitting your good job that you get paid good money to do something that you don't have any clue how to do it. So what happened?
I think every growth step I've ever taken in business and investments my entire life has always been followed up with "you're crazy." That's for sure. I think that's a pretty good
basically
indicator.
the family of the environment and not me.
That's a pretty good indicator that you're on the right path.
Right? Yeah, no, I think I'm in the same path. Most of us we had, my parents are a teacher, right? And my friends, they all had jobs, right? So when I started my first company, I got that a lot. You crazy? What are you doing? they goes worse because you go to them to talk about business, nobody cares, nobody want to listen to you. So eventually I also have to change all the friends, right?
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, you have my family. Every time that I said to my family, I'm gonna expand the business, they're like, no, 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 don't expand, no more problem. You know what I mean? So you get the thing. So where do you find the strength? Where do you find the inspiration? Where do you find the self-confidence in you that you actually can do it yourself? From where
Yeah. So
this
so
came from?
by this point, I had already built a decent amount of proof that
Exactly.
yeah, because I started investing in
Of
real estate
knowledge.
when
Yeah.
I started investing in real estate when I was like 20 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was doing pretty well on the real estate side of things. So although people were telling me I was crazy and that these licenses were not going to be easily attained, which they weren't, but nonetheless it was possible, and most people didn't think it was possible. So yeah, by the time that I actually went for this and to start my own business with the trade school, I had already kind of built up the confidence in the people around me by this time.
And where do you find the confidence within you?
I think it's
Because if you would not get it from the environment when you were 20 years old and you decide, okay, I'm gonna start to invest in real estate. So where do you find this confidence? You already drop out of
um,
school. Maybe you thinking, I'm not, or maybe somebody put you down, or you realize that this school thing was a big waste of time, and to do
yeah.
business you're gonna go far faster, right?
Yeah, I think I found the confidence by with me dropping out of school. I was actually addicted to drugs at the time. A lot of stereotype,
Uh-huh.
a lot of you develop a certain thought on yourself that everybody else thinks, and you kind of, if you can overcome that, then you can start to use that as the confidence to just continue growing and not buying into other people's perception.
And sometimes you want, they decide to prove them wrong. You have this. I think every entrepreneur that we have interviewed, even if they have parents or family, business owners or not, there is always this drive inside of every entrepreneur that we actually can do this. No matter what anybody think of me, no matter if they tell me that I'm crazy or anything, I have the strength, to put this through. Actually, our first business was in real estate. Here in London, we sold over 5 million doing this thing.
Really?
So yeah, we love it. And I also own a training company. We train people business how to grow, and also we own a book publishing company, and so the whole
That's incredible.
thing. So now but then what made you, why, if you're making very well, good money in the real estate, why you decide to open this training company?
For opportunity, right? I mean, I think you always have this goal in mind, but then as soon as you hit the goal, you realize there's another one a little bit further, and it's just
Exactly.
you just keep going and
Exactly.
going.
And
And
also,
yeah,
when you're in business, the worst number is one business, one employee, one this, one that. This is the worst number is one. So one is very close to zero. So you want to run away from one. So if you can have parallel, as here in London, we have our real estate things, we have our trading company, we have different things, right? So
yeah.
we like to stay far away from the number one. So what patterns or in creating this training company, which is a different field rather than real estate, right? A lot of things go into the equation that are different, right? Because we are in the space, so we understand the cost of acquiring the client is more expensive, and now you see the client pay less than the real estate, and now you need more clients than before, and the whole dynamic change. So how you navigate this situation?
Well, I was lucky enough, ironically, during COVID in 2020, I was starting to build up a decent amount of cash. And I started thinking a little bit beyond real estate. And I kind of understand that
What happened?
real
You
estate,
got tired? You got tired of the real estate, or?
real estate creates a lot of millionaires,
Yeah,
but there's not many billionaires that are specifically off of just real estate. So
agree. Yeah.
I had always wanted to start to get into the business space. So in 2020 during COVID, when most people were running scared, I decided to invest in a party rental business. I purchased the party rental business for 100,000, and that was kind of my bachelor's degree in how to run a business.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Very labor intensive business, a lot of moving parts and pieces, dealing with a lot of customers. It was tough. It was tough. But I was pretty successful with it. I ran it for 2 years. I restructured it. I
Very good.
automized everything, and then so I bought it for 100,000, and then I ended up selling it for $500,000 last year.
Wow, that's fantastic. And
Yeah.
the thing is that this is your MBA, Master in Business and Administration. Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of students come here to London, and they decide that it's a good idea to spend 60,000 a year or whatever in doing Master in Business Administration. Was telling them, I used to have I invested in one restaurant once, and I lost over 200,000. But this one was my best. Master in Business and Administration, the best MBA that you can ever have. I learned in
Oh,
that thing,
100%.
losing money, but
Yeah.
I learned more about business in that thing than nowhere else, right? So
Yeah, I think most people's issue is that they get kind of obsessed with like the self help aspect of things, like reading, consuming books, consuming the YouTube videos. None of it really ties in or clicks or is applicable until you actually really start doing it. So I mean, that's like one of my biggest suggestions is for people to just get
yeah,
in and get started.
exactly. 100%, 100%. At the end of the day, I always, share with all the entrepreneurs, everybody listening, that the entrepreneurship is a skill based, right? It's not a talent based. So the good thing, talent based, for example, if you're a good singer, you have a talent for singing. Not so many people can do that.
Yeah,
Or if you're a painter, an artist, not so many people, because you need to have a certain talent to do that, right? But when it
yeah,
comes to business, is the nature is completely different. Have nothing to do with talent. It's a skill set. So basically, the more you practice, the better you become. It's like driving, right? So if I give
yeah,
you a book about driving and then I give you a car, it's not gonna work that well. So the more you practice, or same like swimming, they are skill based things. So the entrepreneur thing, regardless that you can read a lot of books, is a skill base. So there are certain skills that you have to develop, and the faster that you develop these skills, the better.
yeah,
And when things goes wrong, it's the best way is you gain these skills really, really fast. Yeah, when
yeah,
everything is working fine, because to be honest with you, my real estate here in London was a piece of cake. It was, was amazing.
yeah,
Give us very good money, and the clients was costing us nothing, and it was beautiful, yeah. But then when I get to another business, then I find out the ugly side of it, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
I was thinking, oh, this business is like girlfriends. Some of them are better than the other one. I have to be careful.
How did you
I'm
get into
like,
real estate?
wow, this is not as easy as I thought, right? Yeah. But then when thing goes, when you try and you bought this business, because after you put 100,000, you say I'm gonna make this work no matter what. I'm gonna make it work. So tell me about this process. You went 2 years in that in that business. So how was the process? Do you need to rehire? Do you have to repackage? Because in the you try to make this thing work, but actually, it's not like a real estate. It's actually business, and A to Z. You have to do marketing. You have to customer acquisition. You have to build the brand. You have to sell it at some point. So you have to prepare the whole thing to sell and everything. So tell us a little bit more. How was your experience?
It was a unique experience. So I bought it off kind of like a mom and pop shop. And then of course, this was all during COVID where,
Wow,
everybody,
everything was
e-
closed, right?
everything was closed. So, naturally I got the party rental business at a pretty good discount because of the fact that no parties were going on. Um, and again, I was getting a lot of, you're crazy from all my friends for buying a party rental business in the middle of a pandemic, and this party rental business is all around, just parties. This is tents, tables, chairs, bounce houses, inflatable water slides,
Wow.
inflatable games, you name it. So, yeah, I bought it for 100,000. Everything was on a pen and a piece of paper. And then, I assumed I was probably going to go without any income for the first summer. And I was okay with that. I was prepared for it. But then I thought, maybe I'll try to just offer it for backyard, birthday parties.
Yeah.
If they decide to have people over, that's on them. I'm just bringing it to one person. If you can't have an event for your daughter or your son, the least you could do is get a sanitized bounce house delivered and she can
Yeah.
enjoy it,
At
right?
the end of the day, the birthday and people were alone in the house. So if you can
Yes.
enhance a little
So,
bit the
so that's
experience for the family, you have something, right?
Yeah, so that's what I offered. And I started offering contactless deliveries, and I started kind of using that angle to work it. And we ended up doing 20,000 more than they had done the previous year during COVID,
Wow. During
just for
COVID.
backyard parties. Yeah, I mean, all the
Wow.
corporate stuff was dead, all of the big events were dead, but yeah, backyard parties, it blew up. I mean, you got to think about it. So none of these families could go to their normal water parks, their
Of
normal
course.
amusement parks. They couldn't rent out the roller skating rink. They had no choice but to do a backyard party.
Mm.
So I made a lot of new customers. And then, of course, the following year, I had all the corporate ones come back as well.
Wow.
So it grew pretty quick because of COVID. It's funny. I got it at a discount because of COVID, and then it ended up doing better because of COVID.
And then
So
it's all about innovation. It's about the, free package, with the
yeah,
structure that you have, when you're in
yeah. And
business, you have
honestly,
to
like
innovate.
if I was trying to run that business from a pad and a piece of a pen and a pad like the previous owner was, I would have gone crazy. I get why they sold it. But when I put everything on a software, I mean, you just type in, you add in all the parties and it automatically builds delivery routes for you. It automatically keeps track of your inventory. I remember my first year, I was double booking slides. I was double booking bounce houses. It was chaos.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
had to
because
learn
you
the
got
hard
double
way.
booking that you only have one inventory, and also you have the drivers, and there are drivers that cannot go all over Florida, right? It was in
Yeah.
Florida, yeah, driving around, you
Oh
spend.
no, I'm sorry. This is upstate New York. This is
Ah, in
when I
New
was.
York, oh God, even
Yeah.
worse, right? With a lot of traffic, and you cannot have the drivers driving around the whole New York. You have to do the routes to save money, right? So okay, and then you let that go. So why do you make this uh, let go? You want to jump to a new experience, right?
It was just it's a very labor intensive business.
With a lot of
Um,
operation, I understand. Yeah,
yeah, a lot of operation,
tell me
a
about
lot
it.
of hands on, and although I did put a manager in place, it was just it's constant issues. Insurance prices were ridiculous, and honestly, I didn't owe any debt on this, so I was actually running it with no insurance.
Mhm.
Uh, Now, as my net worth started to grow, I
Yes.
started to get a little concerned.
Yeah.
We're offering. I had water slides that were 27 feet tall,
Wow.
and I had no insurance, and we were doing about $450,000 gross a year of business.
Wow.
So that started to kind of weigh on me, and then all of the just constant oversight that it required from me. I just thought, I could put my money to better use elsewhere.
Yeah. Because too much, sometimes is what type of business you want to be, and how you want. I have I know people, that are my friends. I train them and coach them. They own 300 supermarket and they have 4,000 employees. And every time that I see them, I'm like depressed. Oh my God, man, I couldn't, uh, not in a million times. I will love to be in your position with 4,000 employees and 300 supermarkets. Can you imagine the nightmare that this we bring to your life, right?
Yeah.
So
I think it's
at the end,
important
when you're
to,
running different business, you start to identify patterns, and you design how you want to live your life, right? If you want to live it like that with a lot of operation, and because you love to be there, and and the high rates and so on. But there are other ways. You have options because by now you have skills, right? So you decided to then to open a new in the training company. Training is brilliant, yeah, because the we is with the right product for the right market. You deliver a good value to the marketplace. It's all about identifying these needs. So what happened with this training company? You also bought it, or you built it from scratch?
no, I built that from scratch.
Wow.
Like yeah, it all started with me just witnessing the staffing crisis across the entire nuclear industry, and just seeing year after year. I was in nuclear power for 5 years, and it just progressively got worse.
You knew
There,
this industry very well. You knew that there was
yeah,
a niche there.
yeah, it's just progressively getting worse. Nobody was really doing anything to address it. And I just seen it as a huge opportunity. Especially, it also resonated with me, like as far as like purpose, because me dropping out of high school, the traditional school route, go to school, go to
University,
college,
yeah.
get your 9 to
Get a
5
corporate
job.
job, get a corporate job. So you're not taking any of these boxes.
Yeah, I'm not checking any of those boxes, and I still did pretty well for myself. And I'm just like, why can't we fill these jobs? This is a huge opportunity. It's life-changing income. Um, so I started to look into it, and I started to look into what it takes to get the licenses, to administer the qualifications. Um, and everybody told me, it'd be difficult, or that probably wasn't likely. But I still spent a year to a year and a half building procedures, going back and forth. Made a $60,000 investment to get the license, and I was still uncertain if it was actually going to go through or not. And just in
And if it
September,
doesn't go through, you lose the money.
I believe so. Yes,
Wow.
yes, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So
So
then September of last year, they voted and we got approved.
yeah, the licensing is, because it's depend on compliance, and
Mhm.
here we have done some businesses where we have to, to need the license for the Financial Conduct Authority, and it's a long process. You have to pay a lot of lawyers and wait for
Yeah,
the
I mean,
license, and sometimes it takes longer. For some people, it takes quicker. For other people, it takes longer. You don't know why, but and all these things happen. But eventually, as an entrepreneur, you have to be patient and wait for it, and you have to take chances, right?
yeah, yeah.
And so now, so how has been building the training company? Is it fun? The operation is way less, right? That
The
the
operation is much more
the
manageable.
party, yeah.
That's
Coming
for
from the
sure.
party business, now you are in paradise with the training, yeah.
Yeah, definitely paradise in comparison to that, because with that, we've got 50 different parties all going different
Oh God,
directions, different families.
all over New
Um,
York.
I've got 5 different trucks going out, all
Oh my.
teenagers driving. Um, so yeah, you could say the stress level's a lot down. As far as being able to run it, yeah, it's a lot more laid back. However, the stakes are much higher. As much as it's less
Yeah,
stressful,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, these are federal jobs, and it's an important role.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, you do
yeah,
have responsibility. These people have to get well trained, and you're certifying them, right? And
yeah, yeah. We
the
evaluate radiological conditions inside the workplace, and we're meant to protect not only the worker, but the public from
yes.
radiological.
Oh, look at
So,
that, right? So it's a huge responsibility. So maybe uh responsibility, we the I always said the bigger the business is, the bigger responsibility you have, right? uh
yeah,
Operational maybe could be easy to manage, but there's huge in terms of responsibility and commitment that you have to do to make sure that everybody get the training, and everybody understand the content. So in your opinion, Tony, right? What are the 5 steps of every entrepreneur should be doing out there to make the first million in sales?
What is my suggestion for?
Yeah, what would be the step 1? Yeah, if somebody's now sitting and want to do the first million in business, what do you think that the first thing that they should be doing? First step.
I think the first thing would be get obsessed. If you're not, absolutely obsessed, then not too many people make it as it is. So if you're not absolutely obsessed, you're probably not going to make it. So that's step number 1, is getting absolutely obsessed.
That's great. So step number 2?
Being willing to take risks. You've got to be willing to take risks.
Even if you lose it all.
Even if you lose it all. Yeah, I think that's great, because the faster you can lose it all, the faster you can get to rebuilding, and you're always going to come back stronger. And if you remain obsessed, which is the first step I talked about, you're always going to come back. You're not just going to stop. That's why number 1's key.
So step 3?
I would say it ties right into that. Failing, right?
Say again?
Failing.
Fine.
I think that's one of the steps. You've got to come into this willing to fail, understanding you're going to fail. You get obsessed, come in, take risks, fail. I think that's part of the process. I think it's
failure that is something okay, and that every time you fail, you think that oh, I'm not good, I'm making mistakes. Just take failure as part of the process, right? And learn from it, right?
Yeah, 100%. If I was going to go into business with somebody and they didn't have like some serious failures under their belt, I would be a little concerned. I think I think it shows character. It shows one's ability to really push the limits and go as hard as they can. I mean, I think there's Denzel Washington. He says, if you're not failing, or if you haven't failed, you're not even trying.
Exactly. Yeah. So then, what would be the next step, number 4?
I think patience and persistence would be number 4.
Yeah. So don't have patience and don't give up, right?
Because a lot of people get obsessed, but they lose interest. A lot of people fail and they're not obsessed enough to come back. A lot of people take risks, but it's the people who persist and just show up every single day that no matter what, they will find success. It might not be exactly what they originally pictured. I'm sorry about that.
Don't worry.
It might not be exactly what they pictured on day 1, but they will find their version of success as long as they show up every day and stay persistent.
And the last step number 5?
Once you find that success, I think it's all about keeping it. You're never gonna just get the success. You need to you have to maintain it, right? You never just achieve it. Like you can get $1 million, and I think following those first 4 steps, you can get $1 million, and that's a very solid 4 steps to get there. But now it comes into question: do you keep it?
Exactly.
A lot of people make money and they get very comfortable, and if you're too comfortable, you'll end up
to buy Ferraris, and they start to buy the houses, and they start to think, and all of something goes wrong in the nation bit, and they have nothing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think, Tony, this is a great point, because a lot of people talk about how to deal with failure, how to overcome with failure and everything, but nobody teaches how to deal with success, right? And it's tough. Yeah, I remember we have this first real estate business, and we're making so much money. I don't even need to be in the office, and I'm inside my house watching TV, doing nothing, and my brain going crazy. Like, there is something wrong here. Why am I making so much money, not working? But why? This is something real. And then So I start to get anxious because I have nothing to do. And right that go to travel and enjoy my life, I go and open restaurant and lose 200,000. I almost collapse the other business. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
sometimes because nobody taught us how to deal with success. Nobody taught us that it's okay that we did work hard and now we're getting
Yeah.
the reward for it, and we deserve that, right?
Yeah.
Especially, when our backgrounds, we don't have any entrepreneurs in the family. We are just learning by doing, and sometimes, right, you start to think that there's something wrong with you. You don't feel normal, and people will tell you that you're normal, right? So how come
Yeah.
you not doing? You just always going one times a week, 2 hours to the office, and so
I think
again, it's
most
a path. Yeah, go ahead.
I think most like really successful entrepreneurs find that somewhere along the way they realize that it's the process they're actually obsessed with. It's the process that they're in love with, that they're addicted to, not
No, the
the
actually
Ferrari.
outcome. Yeah, the
Yeah,
actually.
there is no light at the end of the tunnel. You just fall in love with the process.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, Tony, any plan for the future? Any new business, or for the moment you're gonna stick with the training, which is actually a lot of responsibility, or can you take it bigger to all United States, or it's only you can do it in Florida because of the licenses?
So no, the licenses are they're good for the entire United States.
Oh, wow.
In fact, you can actually, once you start working in nuclear power, you can take these qualifications and work across the entire world. We're just not
Wow.
training across the world. We're only training in the United States.
Wow.
Right now, we're only doing classes, and these are in-person classes. These are not online.
Exactly. Have to be in person
So,
and so on, right? Yeah.
yeah. So we're doing
Yeah.
classes in New York. As far as future plans, right now I'm just trying to grow this business. It's still fairly fresh. And as I told you, we just got our licensing approval back in September. So really just we're still building out the structure. We're still trying to make sure that everything goes according to plan.
The operations, yeah. So yeah, building all the operations, all the procedure, and yeah, we make sure when you scaling right to scale right. I remember when I had my real estate business, yeah. I remember at the beginning a little bit was a little bit messy. I'm thinking if I now scale this, what I'm gonna have is I'm gonna scale a big mess. Let me tidy up the thing first before I scale, yeah. So I can.
Yeah, that's just it. Yeah. We've kind of hit the ground running a little bit faster than I think we probably want
Wow.
to as far as structure. It was so like I told you, we got our licensing in September, and by January we had already locked in a contract to train
Wow.
10 people for Constellation, which is the largest. They own the largest fleet of nuclear reactors in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah, so we had to
So
quickly figure it out.
very quickly you have to deliver the service.
Now
Okay.
we've got a couple other big names that are in the pipeline. I can't really say anything right now, but
Really? Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
and this is all on
So
top
you
of
have
just.
to get to it really quickly, yeah?
Mhm. And
Yeah.
so far, we've graduated 36 technicians out of our
Wow.
class
Fantastic.
from the public who otherwise probably wouldn't had opportunities like this. So that's pretty incredible as well.
Yeah, also very rewarding because you do making a huge difference for these people. They actually will have a job, a very well paid job, and like you said, there is a flaw in the industry that there's no enough people trained to actually and deliver this job, right? So, Tony, what's your message for every teenager out there, right? That want to start that have this feeling within them that even that family they are not entrepreneurs, or they have the feeling that they actually can create their own job, they can create their own wealth, and they can create job and opportunity for other people, and they can actually have their own business. So what the message you have for them?
I think you got to start building your self confidence, because especially somebody like you're referring to, people that aren't surrounded by other entrepreneurs, they need to have trust in themselves in order to be willing to take those risks and trust their gut, and take those first steps and stay persistent. So I think that that's probably the most important thing, is build that self-confidence. And the best way to do that is just stacking up proof. You know, if you tell yourself you're going to go to the gym every day, go to the gym every day. If you tell yourself you're going to write some content every day, write a little bit of content every day. Just little things, man. And you start to stack those onto one another. And eventually you're going to look back and realize you've built an entire castle.
Wow, very good. And then if somebody's watching this podcast and say, hey, you know what? I'm living in the United States. I want to do my career in nuclear, right? So how they can attend your training? What website they need to visit?
Yeah, you can visit go.nukeforcesolutions.com. You could also find me on Instagram or Facebook at tony.j.morgan.
That's fantastic, Tony. Tony, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for the feedback that you're giving for the entrepreneur. We wish you well. And for every single one of you listening to this podcast, see you in our next podcast series, Unstoppable, how brave entrepreneurs break this wall and achieve the first million in sales. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.